Are you frustrated with the law of attraction? Are you not sure why it's not working? In this video, you will learn how the law of attraction really works in our lives. This is part 2 and the last in a series called Soul Contracts. How do we know when we completed a soul contract if we don't remember what we agreed to? We answer that question by the end of this video. The law of attraction is an integral part of soul contracts and walking on our planned life paths. Watch to see, step by step, how the law of attraction and manifestation really work using real-life examples, including Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and learning how Holly, the woman whose story we followed in part 1, used the law of attraction to find her way back to a planned life path and also complete a soul contract. In this video, you will learn how you can use the law of attraction in a real way in your own life to manifest the life that you want. Disclaimer. There are a few places in this video where the audio shifted. I spent 2 days trying to get it straightened out. Finally, I just said it's good, and then I started writing my letter to Santa, asking him for a new software system. So if you know Santa, please put in a good word for me. So excuse the audio cuts. It seems unavoidable until Santa Claus comes to town. Follow The Key to Soul Awakening on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you enjoy learning real-life strategies to using spirituality in day-to-day life, subscribe now. And as my son Buddy says, ding ding, don't forget to hit that bell. Also, please share this video on your own social media platforms. The wider my net is, the more people I can reach to help them find their way to happiness. Thank you for helping me. Spoiler alert! For those who have not yet seen part 1, the spoilers are next. So if you'd like to go watch part 1 first, the link is above and in the description. Pause now and come back to part 2 after completing part 1. You'll want the full information so you can best apply it to your own life. After you've completed watching both part 1 and 2 of this series, I'd like you to think about this question and comment with your answer below. Feel free to add details to your answer. Do these videos clarify the law of attraction and soul contracts for you in general? Or do you still have more questions? After the first few days this video is posted, I'll pin the best comment to the top. And I'll also give commenters with great answers a shout out in my next video. In part 1, we explored the questions, what is free will? And what is intuition? Using Holly's story of experiencing and then leaving an abusive marriage, we were able to understand how free will works in our lives. In short, we are completely in control of every choice in our life. The crux of this issue is the distinction between the difference of choice and consequence. During the intuition portion of part 1, we saw what lengths the universe and our guides go to get our attention in situations we ask for help in. If we choose not to listen, that is our choice through free will. What does the law of attraction? Dear universe, I made my vision board, but nothing has changed. I don't like my life. It needs to be like my vision board or my manifestation statements to make me happy. Please send me a sign to let me know when it all will happen. It is true that we can manifest material things that we've always dreamt of. I was able to do this only after I made a few key changes in my life. In general, those areas include how we feel and how we think about our current space in life. By current space in life, I mean where you are in life right now. Every single thing about it. What are your general feelings about that? Are they positive or negative? Are you just living by default, living with whatever's handed to you? Or are you living with purpose? The law of attraction works purely on vibration. We all send out vibration every single second of our lives. The vibration can either be high, positive, or low, negative, or somewhere in between. I consider the somewhere in between as living by default. Living by default just means you're living a life you're not happy with, but it was handed to you, so you're just going with the flow. A fundamental fact about the law of attraction, or what I like to call the real secret to the law of attraction, is something that is rarely discussed, but is the cause for most people never manifesting anything they want. The rest of this video will explain this concept in detail, but in short, we can never manifest or attract anything positive if we are living by default or in a negative state. We must be living in a positive state. If you would like me to do a video on the levels of vibration on the scale of positive, negative, and in between, tell me in the comments. There is a lot more to this concept than I'm going to be able to cover today. The law of attraction simply says, whatever they put out, I will match that, and I'll give it back, so they have more. We are in control of our vibration, not anyone else. Recall in part 1 when we went over what free will actually means. We all have choices in life. Some of them are quite difficult, but choice is always ours to have. The consequence of the choice we make is different than choice. A great example of choice versus consequence is Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Prince Harry was definitely living by default. Even though his life was one that we could all only dream of, and we couldn't imagine walking away from a life like that, he was handed that life. So he was living by default. That life clearly did not make him happy, and it made him even more unhappy when he got married and saw what it was doing to his wife. In the interview with ITV News at 10 anchor Tom Bradby in South Africa, Meghan Markle responded in part when he asked if she's happy by talking about living in default versus living with purpose. She said, "It's not enough just to survive something. That's not the point of life. You've got to thrive. You've got to feel happy." Meghan Markle knew that Harry was living in default, and she, by marrying him, was beginning to live by default as well. So his choice was to walk away from that life, even though the consequence could have been losing his entire family. If we look at the fact that he released a press statement without even telling the Queen or anybody else in the family, that was definitely living by purpose. And he could have lost everybody in the family for going around the order of which he was taught from when he was a baby. He chose to live with purpose because that purpose makes him happy. And being truly happy in your life is what raises your vibration in order to manifest things. And you can never have a high vibration if you are not truly happy. So understand, we are in complete control of our vibration being positive or negative through our own choices. The consequences may be out of our hands, but we need to be happy with the choices we make. And staying in a life where you're living by default will never make you happy. So the first step to getting the law of attraction to work for you is living with purpose and not by default. Holly choosing to leave her husband, who made her miserable and made her feel so bad about herself she didn't even feel alive, in her choosing to leave even though it was scary, that's living with purpose and not default. Holly knows there's many people out there living a life that she got out of, and she says if her story can help anybody, she will speak to anybody about anything. So go ahead and ask her questions in the comment section below, and she'll be sure to answer for you. Ask her anything about leaving friends behind for her then husband, leaving an abusive marriage, and even what her life is like now. Anything and everything is on the table for Holly to answer about spirituality and how that helped her leave an abusive marriage and find her way back to her life path. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that leaving every relationship that is difficult is the definition of living with purpose. These two examples are extreme, but get the point across very well. The choices you make to live with purpose could be small choices that make change. It is in making that choice that moves you closer to living a happy life, which will raise your vibration. And in raising your vibration, you are telling the law of attraction that you would like happy, positive things to be brought to you in your life. Let's get back to the letter to the universe to deep dive into the smallest details of making the law of attraction work for you. This letter to the universe is basically a watered down version of how I used to think about my life. I wanted things to happen, they wouldn't happen, I'd get frustrated, and that would make me more miserable. Knowing what I know now, in being more miserable, I was just telling the universe I wanted more things to make me miserable. Ironic, huh? I imagine the universe getting a letter like this would write back something like the following. Dear loving soul, thank you for contacting us. Please use this correspondence as the sign you requested. We hope it came in short order, so you are not waiting for us. Unfortunately, we are unable to fulfill your request due to proper procedure not being followed. The following matters are key issues. Your vibration is not high enough to manifest. The use of negative words is not accepted in this office, therefore they are deleted from all messages, and then messages are translated from there on. The use of lack in one's life supersedes one's request for all other items. When these areas are corrected within yourself, we will be happy to oblige. Warmest regards, the universe and your spirit guides. Your vibration is not high enough to manifest. What this means is that people stuck in negative or anxious mindset cannot bring good things to themselves. This includes feeling poorly about oneself, as well as having negative feelings towards others. If I can jump back to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry one last time, and as a side note, the reason I like using this as an example so much is because everybody thinks money and power makes them happy. Harry and Meghan show us that that's not actually true. If you saw that interview with Meghan Markle where they were on a trip with their baby and they were being interviewed, Meghan Markle did not look the same anymore. She looked depressed, and she looked like she was slapping on a happy face to make everybody else happy. How many of us do that on a daily basis? Now, yes, they have the luxury of being able to get out of their situation and make a new life. But here is the actual secret of the law of attraction. So do you. No money or power is ever going to change the fact that you have ultimate power over everything in your life. You just have to know how to use it. And it does not matter what life situation we are in. Even if we are in a terrible life situation, we need to focus on something positive in order to raise our vibration. We don't have to focus on whatever is terrible and make that positive, because that would just be lying to yourself. What you need to do is, if you're in a life that feels miserable and there are situations around you which you have no control over but also make you unhappy, what you need to do here is focus on the positive. There is something positive in your life, even if it is one single thing. Focus on it and raise your vibration. Once you do that, the law of attraction will slowly start working for you. The next step in making the law of attraction work for you is thinking about the words and thoughts you use to talk to the universe. The universe only hears positive words because it promotes positive feelings and thoughts. The use of words such as can't, don't, and not are a few examples that are deleted from all communications to the universe. Therefore, you're not asking what not to have. You're asking what to have more of in life. So if you say, I don't want a relationship like this again, the universe hears, I want a relationship like this again. If you say, I don't want that person around me, the universe hears, I want that person around me. Do you see how this works? So when you talk to the universe, it has to be very carefully worded so that the universe knows exactly what you want in the positive. As a real life example, I'm going to tell you about my own life and a major issue I had which completely changed after I learned how to properly use the law of attraction. I have 3 children, one of which has autism and requires a major amount of support in school. Every single school I would go to for this child would turn out to be as difficult or more difficult than the last. While we were in a school, I would grow frustrated, I would grow angry, I turned into that ultimate mama bear archetype. And let me be clear here, it wasn't just one school. It was school after school after school after school. And I'd say to the universe, I don't want this kind of school anymore. I don't want somebody who is just going to put roadblocks up, and I don't want somebody who doesn't care about my child. But what kept happening is the universe would send me this great new school. We would go into that great new school, and it would turn out to be just like the last one, or worse. By our last school that we were in, I had grown so frustrated with everything, I didn't even try to be kind or happy to anybody. Then I would talk to the universe and tell them what I don't want and I can't deal with anymore. And in doing so, I was just asking the law of attraction to bring me more of things that made me unhappy and unkind. And you know what? It just kept coming. It never stopped. It spilled over into all areas of my life, the misery and unhappiness. Then, mid-year, I had just had enough and didn't know what to do anymore. So I put my hands up and said, okay, universe, okay, guides, I'm not going to try to control this situation anymore. Whatever solutions you present to me, I will not say no. I will explore all options brought to me. I just ask that you bring solutions that will be the best fit for all my kids for school, solutions that will support them and offer the best education possible. I also ask that you bring a solution that's going to make my husband happy and recover quickly from his stroke. Do you see how that request is different from saying, I don't want this to happen, I don't want that to happen, I can't stand this? Stating things in the positive absolutely makes a difference. A mere 3 hours later, after I gave up the control of the situation and asked in a positive way what I wanted, my husband, out of the blue, said to me, what about the school in the Caribbean I've had my eye on and has what the kids need? We could move there. We'd be living in the Caribbean like we always want to, and the kids would have a school that we know will support them. I had to laugh and whisper, well played, universe. Well played. Because I had always said to my husband that I'd like my kids to grow up in one house and have that house to come home to in college. The trouble was, we were all miserable in that house. Also, we were in the middle of a global pandemic, the one where we all have to wear masks and the word lockdown is thrown around every now and again. I wanted to say to my husband, are you nuts? No, how are we ever going to afford that even if I do agree And we somehow make that possible around this pandemic. But I had just promised my guides and the universe I would not turn down anything presented. Fast forward, here I am sitting in my house in the Caribbean. My kids have never been happier, the school is better than any my kids have ever been to, and I'm stress-free about education now. During the moving process, I was faced with many times when I was tested to take back control. Many times when my ego would make me doubt my intuition. I acted exactly opposite of what I'd normally do. I trusted the universe and did not resist anything. Although the entire story to how all of this happened is discussed in the last part of my series, A Chance to Be Happy, which explains my spiritual awakening. When published, the link will be above. For purposes of this video, I'll explain how I changed my relationship with the law of attraction in order to make this happen. Much of what I had to resist, or rather face, in order to allow this move to happen, was change my negative outlook on life. When I stood down and approached the universe and life itself with a positive attitude, positive words, my life completely changed, and I can manifest pretty much whatever I want now. The opportunity to change everything about my life was both the best thing I ever encountered and the worst. It was extremely difficult to face that I had created a hellstorm of chaos in my life and my family's life. This was my chance to fix it. To do that, I needed to, as we all do, change the way I think, act, and feel about my current life and change it all to the positive. If I did not, I'd be standing in my own way of living a life better than I ever had dreamt of. And that can be said for all of you watching this video. You could be standing in your own way. That's how the universe works. Once you let go of the control and saying no constantly, they present you with options that can happen and you never even thought of them before. Did I ever think we'd be able to afford moving to the Caribbean and doing what we've done in this last year? Absolutely not. But somehow, when I let go of control and asked the universe in a positive way for what I wanted, it just all fell in place. So in review up to this point, the law of attraction works on vibration that we put out. To make it work for us, we need to be as positive as possible, live with purpose, and also ask for things from the universe in a positive way, avoiding all negative terms. The last part of using the law of attraction to change our lives is essential to making the rest of it work. Let's go back to the letter to the universe. The third item is the use of lack in one's life supersedes one's request for other items. When a person says statements such as, I wish I had, or I can't be happy until, or I never get, this is coming from a place of lack in life. Lack means you don't have it and you are in a negative mind about it. It's kind of like telling the universe that you want ice cream because you've never had ice cream before. That's a place of lack. The universe hears you want something that you are lacking, and in lacking it, that is the vibration you are putting out, lack. So you don't have it. So the universe keeps it from you. Statements from a position of lack does the same thing as negative words. It gives the message to the universe that you want. It tells the universe that you want more of what you already have or don't already have. So in manifesting, the not having of something makes you think that manifestation doesn't work. Really, manifesting does work. You're just manifesting the wrong things. The solution to correcting this step is coming from a place of abundance. There are two ways to come from a place of abundance. You can take one or you can take both of them. The first option would be to look at what you have in your life and thank the universe for the abundance of it. So thank you for all the love I have in my life for my grandchildren. That would be an excellent example of talking to the universe coming from a place of abundance. Or, thank you, universe, for all the opportunities you've offered to me in my career. So you may not have the job you want right now, but thank the universe for the opportunities you have, and you'll get more opportunities until you come upon the right one for you. So I did say there's two different ways you could avoid coming from a place of lack. The second way is to state that you already have it. Thank the universe for it, even if it hasn't happened yet. This is the part of the law of attraction that most of you probably already know about. For example, you can thank the universe for the nice, large, lovely house that you have now, even if you don't have it yet. Yes, that absolutely works. Absolutely. I have made this work myself, but it is the last stop on this trip. It cannot work until the rest of the steps that we have gone over are aligned with a positive vibration. Simply put, you can't manifest anything in your life coming from a negative place, coming from a negative vibration. The real life example that showed all the steps explained in this video is Holly's story. In part 1, we explored how she used free will and intuition. Holly knows there's many people out there living a life that she got out of, and she says if her story can help anybody, she will speak to anybody about anything. So go ahead and ask her questions in the comment section below, and she'll be sure to answer for you. Ask her anything about leaving friends behind for her then husband, leaving an abusive marriage, and even what her life is like now. Anything and everything is on the table for Holly to answer about spirituality and how that helped her leave an abusive marriage and find her way back to her life path. Now we will explore how she used the law of attraction after she left, both to her detriment and to her success. I know that you all want to hear that Holly's life turned into sunshine and rainbows and roses right after she left her ex-husband, but that's simply not true. And the reason that that is not true is because Holly was asking for things from the universe coming from a place of lack and using negative words in her search for love. This only changed when she realized how to use the law of attraction in a way that works from a place of positivity. This is the single misstep most people make when wanting to manifest anything. They do not let go of negative thoughts, feelings, and words. Remember what I said before, change the way that you think, act, and feel. This absolutely must happen in order to walk into the power that we already have to manifest things. Holly did try to move on and date men, trying to find a significant other that would treat her well, respect her, love her, and most importantly, not physically or emotionally abuse her. However, what she found was a string of men that acted the same way her ex-husband did. Like most people in that situation, she began thinking she was a magnet for these type of men. She was not the magnet. Her vibration was the magnet. She would ask the universe for a man different than any other kind of man that she knew. Then she would list all the things she doesn't want in her significant other. In stating that she wanted the kind of man that she never knew before, she was positioning herself in a place of lack. Listing negative statements to the universe about what she didn't want allowed the universe to delete all of the negative words. So in stating to the universe, I don't want a violent man, the universe hears, I want a violent man, because don't gets deleted. And asking the universe, I don't want a man who chooses his needs over my needs. The universe crosses out don't and translates to, I want a man who chooses his needs over my needs. Holly did have a long-term relationship with a man after she left her ex-husband. We will call this man Pretty Boy. When Holly met him, he was everything she had ever wanted. About a year into the relationship, Pretty Boy announced that he was moving to Boston. Holly could come with him, but he was not staying where they were for any reason. And if she did not go with him, he'd consider their relationship over. That sounds like an ultimatum, right? Holly, even at that point, and still does have a very successful career. She couldn't just pick up and leave for her boyfriend, although that seems like what he was asking her to do. She made the heartbreaking choice to break up with him only to attempt a long-distance relationship a few weeks later. After he'd moved to Boston, Holly began to see a different side of Pretty Boy. The few times that they were physically together in each other's presence for a date, Pretty Boy always seemed to get in a fight while they were out. Several times, he even beat the other person so bad that that person needed medical attention. After watching this the second or third time, Holly thought, this is not what I want with my life, and broke up with him. A few weeks after she broke up with Pretty Boy, she met someone who looked a lot like Pretty Boy and reminded Holly of Pretty Boy. Holly fell in love so hard with Rebound Dude. She thought everything was great again. And then just a few short weeks later, I'm not lying, Rebound Dude told Holly he was moving to Boston. She could come with him, but he wasn't staying. Holly called me crying and asked, what is with Boston? In response, I listed all the things she just said to me about Rebound Dude, and that she can't lose him because losing Rebound Dude reminds her so much of Pretty Boy. Notice that she said she can't lose him. What did the universe hear there? That she can lose him. I asked her why she was trying to replace Pretty Boy to begin with. He wasn't exactly a nice person, as it turned out. I said anyone that's just going to leave her or make her choose between her career, which she felt proud of, and him, is not a good guy anyway. She was stunned. She didn't realize that she was trying to replace Pretty Boy, and further did not realize that she was trying to cling to men who did not have her best interests in heart. Holly took the next year and a half to work on herself, doing inner work. Inner work is examining yourself from a spiritual and vibrational level in order to improve yourself and your life, and then attract the life that you want to live. Holly was able to raise her vibration, end the cycle of attracting abusive men into her life. She listened to her intuition, lived with purpose, used positive thoughts, and used positivity in how she spoke to the universe when asking for things. She came from a place of abundance, not lack. She did this all to find her way back to her proper life path. Once securely on it, she found a significant other whom she's still with today. He treats her with respect and love, and has never laid a hand on her. Let's answer the question that started these videos. How do we know if we've completed a soul contract if we don't remember what we agreed to? The key to this answer is everything that's been in part 1 and 2 of these videos. We need to know how to use our free will to make the choices in order to follow our intuition. We also need to know how the law of attraction works, and if we're in a negative state of mind, the law of attraction is going to keep bringing us roadblocks and setbacks, which will stop our advancement to completing the soul contract. To complete a soul contract, a person would have faced a very difficult situation, chosen the path that was very difficult to choose because it was not living by default. It was living with purpose. And in making that choice to live with purpose, their life changed dramatically for the better. People in that person's life that created chaos and drama just fell away without them having to block them out. Situations in that person's life that caused them so much stress suddenly disappear. When we complete a soul contract, all of the situations that make our life stressful to complete that soul contract no longer need to be in our life. So everything about it just disappears without you having to do anything. Lastly, I am going to address one last topic that I talked about in the first video, and that is, when do we know we can sever a soul contract? If you're in a situation where you feel like you've done everything possible in order to make that situation better or to learn from it, and the other person in the situation has not made strides to do the same, you can ask the universe simply, please void out all soul contracts I have made that are not for my highest and best purpose at this time. All of the contracts that are stressing you and you have no way to get rid of them will be voided out, and you will no longer have to deal with those situations. However, it is very rare that a contract will be voided only because the person asking to void it usually has not tried everything to learn their lessons. And that means you're not looking at the other person to change. You need to look inward to see how you can change. And maybe that relationship isn't going to work out. Maybe it will. But our first step is looking inward and seeing how we can be more positive and the lessons that we can learn through this experience. Usually when we meet a dead end, or at least what we think is a dead end, it's not a dead end. We're just choosing not to take the path that is more difficult for us to face. Remember in the first video where I said that fear is a deterrent to taking the correct path. But fear is not always a symbol that something is going to turn out bad. That's our human mind and our human ego thinking. Remember, the lessons in this video were listen to your intuition and choose to use your free will in a positive way. Raise your vibration to the highest vibration possible and use the law of attraction in a positive way to let the universe know what you want to make your life better. And that is the start of how you will learn your lessons and complete your soul contracts. Please take a moment to answer in the comments section below. Does this clarify your understanding of the law of attraction or soul contracts in general? And if you follow the Key to Soul Awakening on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you enjoy learning real-life strategies to using spirituality in day-to-day life, subscribe now. And as my son Buddy says, ding ding, don't forget to hit that bell. Also, please share this video on your own social media platforms. The wider my net is, the more people I can reach to help them find their way to happiness. Thank you for helping me.